What if, before you were even born, you had already chosen this exact life? What if your body, your parents, your deepest challenges, all of it, had been designed by you, with full awareness? A book hidden for over 200 years reveals this forgotten truth. It's not stored in Egyptian museums nor guarded in Greek temples, but lies dormant in the southern reaches of the world, known as the Codex Animae. This secret manuscript was preserved by occult societies in Latin America, and it speaks of something few are ready to remember: why your soul chose this incarnation. This video is not for everyone. It's for those who feel that pain has a purpose, and that forgetting was part of the plan, because those who walk through the 8 codes of the Codex Animae do not return the same. And at the end, something forgotten will be returned to you. Code 1. The Call of Consciousness, when the soul decides to return. Before we reveal the first secret, take a breath. If something in this video already resonates with you, liking and subscribing is more than a gesture. It's a signal to the algorithm and to the universe itself that you're ready to remember who you are. This small act vibrates like a key. It awakens, connects, and amplifies what's yet to come. According to the Codex Animae, everything begins with a silent calling, not an order, not a command, but a loving invitation from universal consciousness. It's as if the all whispers, "Are you ready to return?" And the soul, with complete freedom, answers yes. Unlike what religions often teach, the soul is never forced to incarnate. It chooses, always. It chooses out of love for experience, out of desire to grow, to heal, to feel again. It is not punishment. It is mission. This call doesn't arrive in words, but a subtle vibration, like a longing for something not yet lived. An inner impulse, almost magnetic, activating memories of Earth, of the body, of human emotion. The soul knows it will be difficult, but it also knows that forgetting makes the journey real. And so, before time even exists, the soul begins to dream of its next path. It begins sketching possibilities, intuiting faces, places, situations, and realizes that every detail of the coming life can become a gateway for expansion. Like an artist before a blank canvas, it doesn't seek perfection. It seeks truth, expression, transformation, and even knowing it will forget everything upon arrival. It trusts, because those who hear the call already know they are more than pain. But before the soul steps through the portal of birth, a more sacred ritual awaits. The moment it revisits everything it once lived and feels, with every part of its being, the impact it had on others and on itself. Code 2. The Mirror of Time, reviewing past lives. Imagine reliving every moment of your life, but this time, not through your own eyes, but through the eyes of those you touched. Every word, every action, every silence, now felt from the other side. That is how the soul reviews its journey. According to the Codex Animae, this is not judgment from above, but an experience of absolute empathic resonance. You are not punished. You understand. You are not condemned. You feel. Is a return to awareness, not to guilt. This review happens in a field of light and compassion. The soul is surrounded by subtle presences, as if standing before mirrors of love, capable of reflecting its wounds with tenderness. Even the deepest mistakes are seen as steps in learning, never as unforgivable sins. Near-death experiences around the world echo this same process. People report panoramic life reviews with astonishing clarity, reliving their lives in moments that feel eternal, but always in love. Never. Fear, it is not doctrine. It is memory reactivated at the edge of death. Modern science is starting to explore this mystery. Dr. Bruce Grayson, a psychiatrist at the University of Virginia, studied dozens of NDEs and confirmed a recurring pattern. The Life Review, regardless of culture, belief, or age, suggests that consciousness survives the body. What we call soul might be the source, not the byproduct. And this step has a purpose. It expands compassion. It prepares the spirit to try again, but wiser. Because once you feel the impact you've had, you can no longer pretend your choices don't matter. You become responsible for your own light. It is in this expanded awareness that the soul approaches its next encounter, a sacred meeting with beings of wisdom who help design the soul's next incarnation. And every decision will be made in love and in absolute freedom. Code 3, the Council of Souls, who helps you plan your life. The soul does not choose alone. After reviewing its journey, it's gently guided to a space of light where subtle presences await. Some call them guides, elders, or mentors, but the Codex Animae names them the Council of Souls, beings who have accompanied you across lifetimes. They do not give orders. They do not impose paths. They simply reveal possibilities. Like masters who know your deepest essence, they offer perspectives, suggest encounters, and help you recognize your own desires for growth. Here, everything is seen from above. You begin to understand how certain pains became initiations, how specific meetings shifted your entire path, and you realize many of the hardest moments were actually gifts in disguise, whose meaning only reveals itself now. With the council, the soul decides who it will reunite with, those who were once your parents, children, lovers, or even enemies. Return in new roles under new faces to continue the sacred unfolding of your evolution. Soul contracts don't break, they transform. Every reunion holds purpose. At this point, many souls choose great challenges, not out of self-sacrifice, but out of mission. Some accept rejection, others illness, loss, or poverty, not because they seek suffering, but because they know what strength can rise from that pain. This moment transcends time. You see future timelines like threads of light. You feel each one's vibration, sense their emotional weight, and with the guidance of the council, you choose the one that aligns most deeply with who you are ready to become. And after selecting your companions, your wounds, your tests, comes the most important decision of all. Why you will return. The soul must now choose a purpose, a vibrational center that will shape the entire incarnation. And that is the next mystery we must unveil. Code 4, the purpose of incarnation. Why you chose this life. Among all the possibilities in the universe, why did your soul choose this life? Why this body, this time, these wounds, and this unique mix of talents, traumas, and longings? The answer lies in what the Codex Animae calls the vibrational purpose of the soul. Each incarnation carries a central code of learning, a subtle field that shapes every major experience. This is not a task assigned by an external force, but an inner calling born from love and evolution. The soul longs to remember itself through each encounter with shadow and light. Some come to heal old bonds, others to awaken forgotten gifts. Many return to develop virtues like compassion, courage, or forgiveness. And there are those whose mission is to help others awaken, acting as mirrors, catalysts, or seeds in dormant soil. No path is more sacred than another. Purpose is not a fixed goal. It reveals itself over time like a scroll slowly unrolling. It shows up in synchronicities, in recurring challenges, in passions that won't fade, and wounds that keep demanding meaning. We often confuse purpose with profession. But the soul's purpose is not what you do. It's how you vibrate while doing it. You can fulfill your purpose as an artist, a healer, a teacher, a parent, as long as your actions are aligned with what your soul came to embody. Science still seeks to explain the meaning of life, but thinkers like Viktor Frankl already knew. He who has a why can endure any how, and the Codex Animae reminds us, suffering without meaning breaks you, but suffering with purpose transforms you. Once this purpose is felt, the soul begins to give it form, choosing the vessel, the location, the entry point. Even the circumstances that seem cruel are chosen with love because they serve the mission of remembrance. Code 5. Body, family, and origin. Why nothing was accidental. Why would anyone choose to be born into poverty? Why come into the world surrounded by scarcity, struggle, and lack? According to the Codex Animae, the soul knows exactly what it's doing. It didn't come to be a victim. It came to transform what others called impossible, from the inside out. The soul chooses with full intention. It selects a body with its strengths and limitations, a family with its wounds and gifts, an environment with its contrasts and triggers. Each element becomes a vibrational classroom. Nothing is random. Everything is preparation. Many of us were born into stories that seemed unfair. But what if those stories were carefully chosen because they contained the exact catalysts our soul needed to awaken? The very scarcity that broke us is the same that ignites our desire to break cycles. The void that hurt us becomes the womb of inner strength. Science is beginning to echo these ancient truths. Epigenetics shows that emotional experience can alter gene expression across generations. In healing yourself, you're literally rewriting the energetic imprint of your ancestry, forward and backward. You are the conscious link in a long unconscious chain. To transform is not just to survive. It is to prosper with awareness. To remember that you can be deeply spiritual and still abundant. Because there is nothing sacred about perpetual lack. What is sacred is vibrational alignment with the flow of life. If scarcity has shaped your early chapters, then maybe prosperity is the very lesson you came to master. And the eBook, The Key to Prosperity, Transform. Your financial life with the Hermetic Laws was created as a sacred map for souls ready to transcend material limitation without abandoning spiritual truth. It's available for a limited time at a symbolic launch price. You'll find the link in the pinned comment. Because to prosper isn't to accumulate, it's to remember your worth. And every soul that remembers begins to lift the veil. In the next code, you'll understand why forgetting was part of the plan, and why the absence of memory is actually the greatest act of trust you ever made. Code 6, the veil of forgetting, why you had to forget everything. Have you ever wondered why you were born remembering nothing? Why all that spiritual wisdom, every conscious choice made before incarnating, simply disappears the moment you're born? The answer may seem harsh, but it holds one of the most sacred truths. The soul chooses to forget. According to the Codex Animae, forgetting isn't weakness and it's courage. It is the only way to have a fully authentic human experience. If you remembered everything, there would be no real free will, only reenactment. Forgetting is the gate to freedom. The veil isn't punishment. It's part of the cosmic design. It allows you to discover yourself again through doubt, failure, wonder, and choice. And when you feel that quiet emptiness inside, it's the soul whispering, "Do you remember me?" Deja vus, synchronicities, recurring dreams, they are cracks in the veil. The soul speaks through silence, symbols, and intuition. It's not your mind that remembers. It's your essence, awakening from within, one echo at a time. Neuroscience confirms what mystics have always taught. Our brains filter perception constantly, allowing in only what we're ready to process. What mystics call the veil, scientists call attentional selectivity. Both describe the same sacred threshold. So the soul dives into life, knowing it will forget but trusting it will find its way back. because the truest remembrance is the one that happens not through doctrine, but through lived experience. And at the heart of this courageous forgetting comes the most vulnerable moment of all, the leap into birth. Fragile, uncertain, wide open, because even without memory, the soul carries its light into form. Code 7, the leap of faith, birth as a spiritual act of courage. Few truly realize what it means to be born. To the physical eye, it looks like the beginning, but for the soul, it's a descent into density, a sacred fall from light into limitation. To incarnate is to accept amnesia, vulnerability, and fear, with faith that light will find you again. The Codex Animae calls this moment the leap of faith. The soul knows it will forget. It knows it will bleed, lose long, and still, it jumps, because it trusts its inner compass. When a child is born, they cry, not just because of cold or air, but because they feel the veil close. It's like saying goodbye to expanded consciousness, whispering, "I'll see you again," when you remember. And this is where the human story begins. Even in that fragile body, something pulses strong. The soul knows everything it needs is already within. It trusts the right teachers will appear. That pain will open. Purpose in that darkness is simply the womb of awakening. If we see birth only as biology, we lose its sacred meaning. But when we honor it as a rite of descent, we remember we are not victims of life, we are volunteers. And our lives are chosen missions. To incarnate is to be both divine and limited. It is the mystery of spirit clothed in skin, and that alone makes every life sacred. But such power was hidden, because a soul that knows it chose cannot be manipulated, and that leads to the next revelation. Why was this sacred knowledge erased? Who had something to lose from a humanity that remembers? The next code reveals the architecture of forgetting and the fear that birthed it. Code 8, the great collective forgetting. Who erased this knowledge and why? If this knowledge is so transformative, why isn't it taught in schools? Why have you never heard of the Codex Animae until now? The answer is not conspiracy, it's historical fact. This knowledge was hidden because it made people free. Governments, empires, and religions realized something early on. A soul that remembers cannot be controlled. It doesn't obey blindly. It doesn't consume to fill the void. It walks with purpose and not fear, and that is dangerous to those who seek power. Teachings on reincarnation, soul planning, and conscious choice were erased from councils, burned in inquisitions, dismissed by scholars, and labeled heresy, not because they were false, but because they were too true. At the Council of Constantinople in 553 AD, the concept of reincarnation was officially removed from Christianity. From that moment on, billions believed they were created from nothing and had only one chance to get it right. Fear replaced awareness. In the East, these teachings survived, but were often locked in monasteries or distorted by dogma. In Latin America, they lived through secret rituals among shamans, mediums, and anonymous initiates, always outside the official narrative, but never forgotten. Because truth doesn't die. You can ban a book, but you can't silence a soul that knows something is missing, and that's why you're here now. Because something in you already remembers. But this isn't the end. It's a beginning. Because now you have a choice to forget again, or to continue remembering. And the next code will show you that you are never alone in this remembering. Code 9, the eternal return. When distant traditions tell the same story. How is it possible that civilizations separated by oceans and millennia described, with different words, the same soul journey? The Codex Animae is not an isolated document. It is part of a sacred puzzle scattered across time, hidden in teachings that survived fire, conquest, and censorship, yet whispered the same truth. In Hermeticism, the soul is an emanation of the All, and its return to the physical world is a cycle of remembering and refining. The Corpus Hermeticum speaks of the soul descending into matter and awakening again through spiritual alchemy. The All is in all, and all is in the All, it says. To remember this is to begin the ascent. In Tibetan Buddhism, the Bardo Thodol, the Book of the Dead, describes stages after death where the soul reflects, receives guidance, and chooses its next incarnation based on karma and awareness. Like the Codex Animae, it teaches that rebirth is not punishment, but the continuation of consciousness, seeking expansion through experience. In Taoism, the soul is like water. It flows, penetrates, transforms, and always returns to source. Lao Tzu taught that the soul isn't trapped in the body, but moves between realms in rhythm with the Tao. Rebirth is not a linear event, but a spiral of ever-deepening harmony. Ancient indigenous traditions of the Americas speak the same language. Shamans tell of children of the sun who incarnate to restore balance and awaken memory. Toltec wisdom taught that birth is a conscious descent and that forgetting is part of the training of the soul. In Brazil, ancestral rituals recall spirits choosing their mission before taking form. The most astonishing part? These cultures never exchanged texts. They never shared maps or scriptures. Yet they all describe a soul that chooses, remembers, and returns. Coincidence? Or a truth so ancient that it transcended history itself? Perhaps that's the greatest revelation. The Codex Animae could have many names, but its essence is universal, because truth doesn't belong to a single book, a single culture, or a single time. It belongs to the consciousness ready to remember, and you were always meant to find it. Now that you've crossed through all 9 codes, pause for a moment, breathe, and feel what has shifted in your inner field. You didn't just watch a video, you were guided through an ancient remembrance that your mind may not fully grasp, but your soul already knew. You remembered that you chose to be here, that the call from universal consciousness was accepted in love, that your soul reviewed, planned, and chose its path with clarity. You remembered that nothing was random, and that every experience has always served the deeper purpose of remembering yourself. You saw why this knowledge was erased, because when a soul remembers it chose, it becomes free. You realized this wisdom didn't disappear. It was preserved in Hermeticism, Buddhism, Taoism, and indigenous teachings, because what is real can't be silenced, only hidden until the right moment. If this journey awakened something within you, don't let that flame go out. Like and subscribe now, not for the algorithm, but as energetic reciprocity to what you just received. You're not just a viewer. You're a reactivator of remembrance. And if you feel ready to realign your external life with this inner awakening, access the eBook, The Key to Prosperity. Transform your financial life with the Hermetic Laws. It's a sacred practical guide to manifesting abundance through vibrational mastery and ancient Hermetic principles. It's available now at a symbolic launch price for a limited time. The link is in the pinned comment. And now that you've remembered the soul's path through wisdom, what if you could see it proven by science? Watch next. Reincarnation is real, the scientific study that changes everything. Where the groundbreaking work of Dr. Ian Stevenson reveals over 2,500 documented cases of children who remember past lives. This is not belief. This is data. And it may change everything you thought you knew about life, death, and why you are here. Until then, may silence guide your steps and remembrance anchor your being. Because what you're seeking is not in the future, it's already within.